Hello everyone and welcome to Friday and my 5-minute Friday video. Earlier in the week, someone posted a request for me to address the topic of self-sabotage, and today I'd like to touch on this. So raise your hand if you've had a goal in mind, had outlined how you were going to make those mental mind shifts to this time get the results you wanted, but your end result again landed flat. When I'm working with clients to explore the why they have so much momentum at the starting gate but then peter out at the home stretch, we're usually exploring how they themselves sabotage the gains they want to achieve. How is it that you tend to knock yourself out of the results you want by way of your own knockout punches? I'm talking about thoughts of self-doubt and critical and judgmental self-talk that's spinning around in your minds, overthinking and overanalyzing your every thought and move, only to create the ultimate feeling of stress and overwhelm. And since I've talked at length about how our feelings drive our behaviors, I don't know about you, but a high wattage feeling of stress and overwhelm tend to lead to inaction, resulting in zero accomplished. I've also spoken at length about just like we tend to eat the same things during the course of the week, we also tend to think the same things. Our thoughts become habitual. So you may find yourself in a self-sabotaging pattern that can interfere in all of your life domains. I've got 5 minutes, so this will be the Cliff Note version on how you can tell if you are sabotaging yourself, your efforts, and your ultimate life end results. 1. Self-saboteurs focus on the negative and ignore the positive, which can not only lead to feelings of dissatisfaction, disappointment. If that's the energy that you're carrying around you, it spills over onto those around you, and soon they may avoid wanting to spend time with you. 2. Self-saboteurs allow fear to guide their thoughts, plans, and actions. What does this look like? These are people who live in the what if something goes wrong or what if I fail mentality that keeps them out of action altogether. There's a writer and blogger, I'll reference him in the post, Jageda, who wrote, "Fear is like a virus that wreaks havoc in our lives. It develops into mistrust, anxiety, worry, hopelessness, and other negative emotions. It paralyzes us and hinders our progress in life." 3. Self-saboteurs focus on the past, which can lead to missed opportunities in the present. Examples of this is if you found yourself more often than not saying to yourself, I could have, or I should have, or if only. 4. Self-saboteurs suffer from what I like to call comparisonitis. They feel that deep down inside they don't measure up. I'm not as smart, I'm not as attractive, I'm not as skilled, I'm not as fit, I'm not as wealthy. Maybe these things are true, maybe they're not. But regardless, the problem with making these kinds of comparisons is that there will always be someone somewhere who was something or has something more. Therefore, making these kinds of comparisons only serves to make the comparer, you, feel as if he or she is never good enough. 5. Self-saboteurs settle. Rather than pushing for what they want, self-saboteurs settle for less because they don't see themselves as worthy or deserving of anything more. 7. Self-saboteurs are masters at procrastination. They put off major projects and responsibilities until the last minute and then have to rush to get them done in what usually ends up being a mediocre performance. Okay, I hear you through the computer yelling at me. Okay, thanks, Joanne, but how can I overcome any of this? If you've listened to my videos or read my blogs, you can probably already guess what the first thing I'm going to say is. Yes! Start paying attention to how often you focus on what went wrong instead of what went right. Rarely are situations completely negative. So when you find yourself starting to talk about what isn't working, do a little self-correction and force yourself to think about and talk about what is working, even if something's minor. This is why I have the Wednesday wins and brags, to help you develop a pattern of noticing what is working in your world, to help you pay closer attention on your small steps of success. Modifying your way of thinking and talking takes a lot of effort and repetition. But remember, you're working on breaking the habit of self-doubt and taking in healthier thought habits. Patience with this, because you'll get to where you want to with continued practice. When you make a mistake, learn what you can from it and move on. Failing is a necessary part of learning. I always say that if something went wrong, you were just practicing to do it right. When you're feeling afraid, write down what you're afraid of. Do I have any control over this? Stop comparing yourself to others. The great thing about being a human is that we all have unique and special qualities. Okay, maybe you're not the best dressed person in your group of friends. Maybe you don't have the nicest car or the best organizational skills. But what do you have? Think about it. Practice making daily positive affirmations. Like anything else, if you remind yourself to do this enough, it will become habit. Books have been written on procrastination, but in a nutshell, here are some of the most commonly recommended strategies to lessen procrastination. Block out times in your calendar for each project you take on. I spoke about procrastination in an earlier video last week. It serves a purpose. It serves a purpose of avoiding a task. What's the thought behind it? Break it down. Break the thought down. Then you can create doable sub-projects that will be easier to accomplish, starting with the most dreaded first and work yourself down to the most enjoyable. Action and the feeling of completion will build your momentum to take on the next task. Set earlier than required deadlines for yourself. Don't put yourself under all of that pressure. Remove as many distractions as possible from your environment when you're working on a project you're less than thrilled about. And this includes turning off your phone and your email and Facebook alerts notifications. I've given you a lot of information to chew on. So when you're ready to learn how to stop sabotaging yourself, recognize the signs, and actually have tools and the how-tos to move through it once and for all, I've posted in the comment section a link where you can schedule a 30-minute coaching call with me, my gift to you. Let's talk about what's holding you back. You know what it is. It's time for the how-tos. All right, make it a great week ahead. Practice self-compassion and remember that liking yourself is non-negotiable.